He'll make a big impact, and he's made a big impact. But you have to have good people around you now, because the headlines are going to be crazy. Look at that. Every day, every minute of today, all we're speaking about, everyone's going to talk about is Max Dowman. He's got to have good people. It seems like he's got good people around him, because he's thrown into the spotlight now. Can he handle it? I think the young man can handle it, but I think he's got the right people at that football club that will handle him ever so well. Mikel Arteta, experienced players like the Rice, Gabriel, Saliba, the likes of Timber, the list goes on and on. He's got a lot of people there that will help the young man, and I don't think he'll get too high, but enjoy that moment, because that's a special moment, and yeah, you surely hit the ground running. But sensational young talent, he's got the world at his feet. But don't hype him up too much, everyone, because that's what we do in this country. Hype him up, and when he has a few quiet ones, everyone wants to criticise him and says, can he get back to the level? He's an outstanding young player, and as I said, he'll have good people around him, and he's going to be a star.
And the point, Dave, that Clinton made there about the club protecting him, I think they didn't put him up for a post-match interview, which I think something that I know for certain that Liverpool have also been quite careful with Ungamoa, that you don't want to throw them into a moment which might be a little bit too big for them, because we actually forget that playing football is what he's most comfortable at, probably not doing the interviews or anything like that.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that a lot of the media that were in attendance at the weekend at the Emirates would have asked to speak to him. So the question would have been asked, and it would be down to Arsenal then to say we're going to hold him back. And it's not just those players that you mentioned there as well. Jude Bellingham has been held back when he was coming through at Birmingham City, and with England as well, from doing post-match interviews and sit-down interviews with media. It almost seems a little bit needless at this point in his career, because every word would be analysed, every word would be blown up, and the fact is that he's talking on the pitch right now, and I think that's enough for Arsenal. They have got players in the squad that have experience of what he's going through right now. No more so than Martin Ødegaard, who came through at such a young age, got a massive move at such a young age as well, and he knows what the spotlight can be like for a player. And Ødegaard had his dips as well, in terms of not getting any game time at that age when much was expected of him. So he's got players there that he can learn from as well.
You just said, Clinton, let's not hype him up too much, which is probably leads me into asking a question that I maybe shouldn't be asking.
No, you asked, of course we've got to talk big about him. He's a big
Michael
player.
Owen's first full season, he went to the World Cup at the end of it. Wayne Rooney's second full season, he went to the World Cup at the end of it, having started 26 games. Owen started 34. Theo Walcott went to a World Cup having started 13 matches in the Championship that season.
I know what your question is.
Is that too much? And are England well enough stocked that is probably too much to hope for from him?
Yeah, it's well enough stocked. There's a lot of... He's a special young player, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of special players in his position where he wants to play that will probably miss out on the World Cup as well, that will be at home. His time will come. I remember when they took Theo Walcott and he didn't play any time, but that was an experience for him. His time will come. He's still a young man and he's got loads of time. He'll be an international sooner rather than later, but for him to go make a mark on the World Cup, I think it's too much too soon at the moment. He hasn't played that much Premier League football, so why are you going to thrust him into a World Cup? It's a different scenario. It's totally different at the moment. His time will come, but for him to be going into the World Cup, not at this moment. He's got many years of playing for England, and he will play because the boy's a super talent. I know I said don't big him up too much. The reason I don't want people to big him up too much, he deserves to be bigged up because he's a special talent, but I don't want it to then he has a few quiet games that everyone wants to knock him down again. He's a young, he's still at school. He's doing his GCSEs. It's ridiculous. A player of that ability, but you can see, and Mikel Arteta must see, because it was 0-0 on the weekend. He left a few big players on the bench, and he said he kind of felt it. You feel it with this guy in training. He must be putting good defenders and sitting them down, because that's what Arteta said. He's doing it against some of the best defenders at Arsenal. He's a super talented boy, but yeah, he'll keep his feet on the ground. He's got good people around him, but I think too soon for the World Cup. Let him go and enjoy his football. Have a summer off. Go away with his friends and just chill out, unless he's playing.
Being Kavos or Iron Napa or something as a 16-year-old.
Too young for that.
Yeah, I think you had some bits on the actual run that brought the goal.
I mean, Clinton talks about the talent there. That's why everyone's so excited, because he's so direct. He's able to carry the ball. He's able to take players on. The composure that he showed on that run as well, the composure and the strength to run through contact. And over the last 10 years, actually, that goal makes it into the top 10 of the longest carries to a goal. And if he'd have dribbled the ball over the line, he might have gone higher up this list, but he didn't. He managed to put it over the line from around about 17, 18 yards. So 61.3 metres was the carry that ended in a goal. Andros Townsend has the longest carry against West Bromwich Albion at 78.9 metres for the longest carry that ended in a goal. But hopefully, from his point of view, hopefully from an Arsenal point of view, they'll be hoping that they see lots more of that type of direct running, that type of ability to take players on and have an end product as well, not only with the goal but with the cross as well that led to the first.
And huge games just keep on coming for Arsenal at the moment. Champions League action tomorrow against Bayer Leverkusen. Remember, that one is 1-1 from the first leg in Germany last week.
Well, James Vaughan, whose record Diamond broke, joins us live now. James, good morning. We were going to ask you what it was like walking into school, but we've just found out you actually had already left school. So tell us what that moment was like, because you probably know exactly what Max Dowman feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I would have been walking in like Daniel, but I can understand why he'd feel like that. Yeah, for me, I was back to normality. I was back to training the week after, so I didn't have to go into school, but I can imagine it's an amazing feeling for Max today.
Yeah, did you walk into your friendship group maybe with a bit of a strut?
Yeah, I did, to be fair. I was staying in digs with the rest of the academy boys, so I think I walked in with a bit of a strut, but not too much.
James, look, we're just seeing your goal actually on screen. We're seeing you run off and celebrate widely. Very similar actually in terms of wild celebrations like Max Dowman too. Can you tell us what it was like though, those feelings you were going through at that moment?
Yeah, it's quite surreal, to be honest with you. It feels like a long time ago now. Yeah, it was a bit of a blur. Come on, scored the goal, obviously, and everyone swarmed you like they do. It's what dreams are made of, and it's something that I look back on now, and it's obviously the best memory I had while I was playing football. And, I was fortunate enough to be at the game when Max broke the record at the weekend, so I could see what it meant to him and his teammates. So, yeah, it was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, lots of actually similarities between the two. You were an Everton player. He scored against Everton. I think the same manager in charge on the touchline at Everton. I'm just wondering, how much did your life change after that?
Yeah, I think it was massive for me. I've been fortunate to be around youth football for the last few years. So, I've watched Max Dowman, and I think anyone who's been around youth football won't be surprised by the rise he's had. I think for me it was a little different. I think it came around pretty quickly for me, so it did change my life a lot, and for the better.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure Max probably feels very similar to you this morning as well. Look, the rules are certainly changing and adapting. I think certainly Max has to get adapting at the different dressing room because of his age and the differences. I was actually at Gillingham last week, and they had the same situation. They had a couple of youngsters. They had to move everybody around. The media room got moved so that these players can change in separate dressing rooms. Is that the same situation as it was for you back then?
No, it was very different for me back then. I had some quite senior pros that I was getting changed with, and I had a lesson in life, should we say, in the changing room, but I wouldn't change it. Some fantastic characters around at the time, and I learnt a lot off them.
You had the likes of was Duncan Ferguson around then as well. Must be interesting, that moment when he's around too.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, for me, they were my heroes. To be in a changing room with them and then preparing for a game as they do was special for me at the time. And it's something I wouldn't change. Obviously, I know rules have changed these days, but for me, it was a massive learning curve being around those and preparing for a game with them.
Did I hear you say earlier you were in the stadium when Dowman scored that goal? What was your reaction? Did you know immediately that he was going to beat your record by just 197 days, by the way?
Yeah, it was crazy, to be honest with you. My little boy loves going to the Everton games, and we've never been to an away fixture, so I'd promised him I'd take him to one, and it was only the day before we decided to go down to Arsenal. So we were in the stadium, and I had a feeling all day. I've known for a while, to be honest. If I'm truthful, I know how good Max is, and at the same time, I think I got away with one earlier last season with Rio and Gamora at Liverpool. I think both of those are two players that I thought for a while that were going to break the record. So to be in the stadium with my little boy watching, I think he was a little bit disappointed, but for me I couldn't think of a better player to break it.
What a special moment that is, that your boy was there to share the moment. Look, you said you knew it could potentially come with Max Dowman. I remember seeing his talent in pre-season, actually, a game against Villarreal, and everyone in the Emirates just lit up when he came onto the pitch. He's got that aura about him, despite being so young. How far can this kid really go, James?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've watched him for a few years now, and one thing you don't want to do is put too much pressure on him. He's, you know, as you said, his life's going to change from this day forward, but he's a special talent. I expect to see massive things for him in the future, and like I say, it's probably an honour that it's him that's broke out of all the players that have come before.
Yeah, James, you do work with a lot of young footballers. How difficult is it to guide somebody who has the talents of Dowman and so much potential? How do you help them see that through and make the next steps in their careers?
I think it's just understanding that football's full of ups and downs, and you know, I say it a lot that the best players are the ones that can get through the downs and recover and go again. And I think, you know, players like Max and the talent that he has, he won't have experienced too much at the moment, but you can see that he's got a head on his shoulders. I believe he's got very good people around him, so I think hopefully his talent will just be able to take charge, and he can go on to massive things in the future.
I know Mikel Arteta has spoken before about Max at the start of the season, saying, you know, despite his age, we've got to still play him because he's that good. He has that big an impact at the club. Talk about Mikel Arteta. He was in your team on that day that you broke the Premier League record. He scored that day as well. First of all, what was he like to play with? Did you see those managerial qualities in him even back then?
He was a true professional, to be honest with you. He didn't leave any detail out. He trained like I've never seen anyone train before. You know, going back to when we played, times were very different. He was the first player that would get injured and bring his own physio in, live with his physio and make sure he'd done everything correct. It's weird, someone asked me the question the other day, did I see him as a manager? And I probably didn't, but now I look back, I can't believe I didn't see it. And, you know, I think he's doing amazing things at Arsenal, and I'm really pleased for him.
I was going to say, look, let's talk about where Arsenal are at right now. I know probably difficult for your son on Saturday, but look, when you look at the overall picture, you look at a player that you used to play with in Mikel Arteta and the job he's doing. Can he finish the job off this season, do you think? Is the gap now insurmountable for Arsenal?
Look, the hardest part's probably getting over the line for them, but you know, time after time they're coming up with the goods, and every time you think they might have a falter, they're going again. And you know, there's not long to go left in the season. They've got a top squad, top players, and I think this could be their year. Yeah.
James, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks very much.